What's up, y'all, and welcome to Guardian Chronicles. Let's Talk Live. We are on episode 50. Oh my God, it's been a journey. We made it to episode 50. Okay. Welcome. Today we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of guardianship. If you guys don't know, I just want to make sure y'all do know that I do offer guardianship consultations. So I do help people with guardianship. You do not have to live in the state of Michigan for me to help you. You can live wherever in the United States and I can help you. Internationally, not there yet. But within the United States, I can definitely help you. So I've been getting DMs. I've been helping people recently. I've been doing really well. Like, guys, God has been good. Now, I will say one thing. Some of you are really afraid of guardianship, which is why I wanted to make this video, because even though I've been doing well trying to explain this to y'all in these prior videos, y'all be like, I don't know, is being a guardian going to be forever? How is it going to affect my life? And y'all just be... So, got my cheat sheet per the usual for my followers that follow me. Y'all know I'm going to have my cheat sheet on this live. And I just want to go through the pros and cons. I have a little list here. I want to make it short, but y'all know how I am. I get long-winded at times. Hey, Ash. Hey, girl. Look, we just got off phone. Okay, let me jump into this. Wow. Let's talk about this first. Before I jump into it, if you want to just go and take a look at guardianship, what it means, how it may resonate for you, if you have questions, if you have concerns, know that you can go to my website. You can go to guardianchronicles.com. You can fill out the messaging form. It's free. And you can send me messages and you can ask me questions, So I just want to go over that first before you guys are like, oh my gosh, she's going to go over this. It may be a lot. So what do I do if I get stuck? So please be sure that you guys can do that. Let's jump in. Okay, y'all, I got to have me some tea because I ain't had no tea yet. I know I'm teasing y'all. Talking about let's jump in. And I ain't had no food either. But we gonna make this. Yes, Ash, episode 50. I'm thinking I want to do something special for y'all. I was gonna do something special like during this live, but I was like, that's kind of last minute. So I'm gonna do something special, but you'll see. Guardianship. Let's talk pros. The first pro of guardianship is legal authority. So when we look at legal authority, if you're a loved one, in my mom's situation who has bipolar schizophrenia, if your loved one has a condition in which they're unable to acknowledge that they're sick, they're unable to acknowledge that they're going through a severe psychosis, and please forgive me, guys, for those who may be offended by that term sick, but some people do use that term interchangeably. If you have someone that is unable to make decisions for their health, whether that's medically or mentally on their own, then that legal authority to be able to make those decisions will change the game for you. When it comes to medical, if you need to call, let's say you're calling their you're calling their medical insurance, and let's say that they need outpatient visits. Let's say it's psychiatric appointments. Let's say it's medical appointments for high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. Let's say it's regular annual health exams. If you're their legal guardian, then you're able to be not only present during these appointments, but doctors, case managers, nurses, people can legally speak with you. Without being a legal guardian, guys, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get, I'm sorry, I can't speak with you. I know that you want to know more about your loved one, but even in psychosis, they're saying no. So unfortunately, I can't speak with you. And then this is you. Well, they can't make decisions on their own, and I'm their caregiver, and I've really been helping them for 15 years, and it's been working thus far. Here's the doctor. Well, this is protected health information and legally I'm unable to give you this information. You don't want to deal with that. You just don't want to deal with the bull. You just don't want to. You're already heightened because your loved one isn't doing well. You want to get them in a better space. You don't want them to be suffering. So the last thing that you want to deal with is not being able to talk to the doctor to see what their needs are and how to meet them and how you can work together as a team for the purpose of your loved one. Okay. The next one is protection. Now, y'all know how I feel about this. Legal guardianship, to me personally, I believe that it is number one in helping to protect your loved one as far as their life. Their life. The reason why I say that is because being my mom's legal guardian since 2013, my aunt, I was her legal guardian. I don't remember the year, but it's been at least 10 years now. And when my mom, I'm going to start with her first and then my aunt. When my mom would have episodes inside her assisted living facility and they're like, I'm going to call the police. You know, this is before we had 988, guys. You know, now if you're in a crisis, you can call 988. Remember that. Do not call the police for a mental health crisis. Call 988. Okay? 988. So when my mom was at her facility and she would have these episodes and the police would come, of course I would meet them on the scene before they would get to my mom. I would have my paperwork. Hi, officer. My name is Christina Mitchell. I'm the legal guardian of my mom. Oh, where is she? Da-da-da. Oh, no. Wait a minute. You're going to speak with me first. Okay, I'm going to let you know what's going on. No, she is not armed with anything. Yes, she is in a psychosis right now. No, because they asked, is she harmful to herself as well as others? She's harmful to herself, but not others. Okay. Do you know if she's armed? I know she's not armed. Sir, you don't have to put you don't have to do that. No. So the benefit of being that legal guardian is that you're able to reach that officer before that officer reaches your loved one. And clearly you guys see the benefit. I really don't have to explain it any further because you guys get the benefit. And it's been plenty of times where, unfortunately, I remember the police and my mom has been admitted into facilities like hundreds and hundreds of times. And it's been times where the police would come, I would come out, the police going to the door first. As I'm pulling up, I'm getting my paperwork together. And this is before we had smartphones, guys. This when we had basic phones. Okay. And I'm looking for paperwork. I don't have the copy in my phone, the electronic copy. We didn't have that. We had basic phones back then. And I'm like, wait. Hello, yes, I'm the legal guardian. You know, do you have paperwork? That's how the police would be. Do you have paperwork? Because other than that, I don't need to speak with you. If you don't have paperwork, leave me alone, you know? And I'm like, oh, yes, I got paperwork. You know, I hate to be so dramatic with it, but these are the circumstances that I literally experienced. I experienced this outright. And yes, Ash, prevention measures for sure. Definitely it's a prevention measure. So you're right, Ash. It's highly important. I don't want you guys to look at this and say, well, does guardianship just totally prevent an injustice? Of course it does not totally prevent it. But I definitely think, as Ash just said, it's a prevention measure. I do think that it's something that you have a way to be in that forefront to protect your loved one when they're not able to protect themselves, if that makes sense. Okay. With my aunt is what I call a runner. You guys who have been following me, you guys know my aunt's story. For new followers, my aunt, she will have a psychosis. She has bipolar schizophrenia. She won't take her medications. She will run downtown Detroit. We're in Michigan. She will run downtown Detroit. She will go to the homeless shelters. She will go sleep on the streets. She will go some of everywhere. And I've had to learn her places that she likes to go to over the years so that I could locate her. And again, speaking of legalities and things, again, when I am speaking with the police, because let's involve the police again, the reason why I do speak with them is because with the assisted living home that she lives in, if someone runs away, that's what they do. So per their licensing, I don't know if that works for every state, but per their licensing, they have to call and file a police report, and they have to say that this person is missing. So typically, if I do see like an officer going downtown Detroit or something like that, and my aunt is missing, I have flagged them down before, again, the whole 988, and let them know, my aunt is missing, things like that. And this is before we were doing like the whole mental health training, which is amazing. I've been blessed enough to be able to have officers that actually listen to me. But you know what they asked me for first and foremost? Where are your papers? They're like, I don't know who you are. One officer asked me for my papers, and I remember I couldn't find them for a minute because I was just so anxious that my aunt had ran away. It was years ago. I'm 40 now. I think I was like, oh my God, 30, 32 or something like that. And the officer was like, where's your paperwork? If you're a caregiver, I don't know you're a caregiver. I don't know you. I've never seen you before. You can tell me whatever, but for all I know, you could be trying to hurt this person, So by having that protection, that paperwork, you're showing, listen, this person's life is in my hands, and it's my job to love them, to protect them, and to keep them safe from harm, exploitation, as well as poor decisions. Okay. Next is access. I kind of went over this already, so I won't be too long on it. Easier to talk to nurses, easier to talk to doctors, calling over the phone to insurance companies, whether it's medical, dental, vision. You can easily, send in your documentation to them. Hey, I'm a legal guardian. I can speak on behalf of them. If you're a caregiver and you call in, let's say for medical, dental, or vision benefits, they're going to say, I really appreciate you calling us, and I would love to give you that information. However, I would need to speak with your loved one to go further. And then you're going to say, well, I'm a caregiver, and unfortunately, they're unable to really, cognitively be able to voice that to you. So can you just talk to me? Every now and then you get someone that may let you slide, but you're always going to go through that one process where they won't let you slide. And it's going to be during that time that you really need that insurance information. It could be your loved one is inpatient and they need medical treatment or psychiatric treatment. Now you're going back and forth with insurance, trying to get things taken care of, trying to make sure that their eligibility is good. Like, no, like you don't want to deal with that. If you're a caregiver, you want to make your life as easy and seamless as possible in caring for your loved one, and to try and keep your mental health together and keep your mental health straight. Because if you don't have a process and you don't have your legal in place, then it will make it much harder for you. It will. Another thing about access is some of you believe that, okay, if I'm a legal guardian, I'm going to have to do this forever. That's not true. You can be a temporary guardian. You can be a 6-month guardian, 12-month guardian. You could do it forever. You could be a guardian forever. Let me say it again. You do not have to be your loved one's legal guardian forever. You don't have to. You can do it temporarily for as long as they need you. But it is highly important that your loved one has someone to advocate for them when they're unable to advocate for themselves. And I really hope that you guys can get this message, especially through, I know I did the script there for a minute, but I needed you guys to see what that looks like. The last pro is stability. You want to have structure. When you're a caregiver, you're already busy. Your loved one, you have to make sure that they take their medications, they're eating properly. You have to make sure that they don't have certain meals, they don't have certain liquids. Maybe they need to drink more water because of kidney problems, less juice because of diabetes, or less pop. You need to make sure that you have all their finances together. You need to set yourself as a payee. Being a legal guardian, you can set yourself as a payee over their Social Security monies. If they probably had a pension at one time, you would be able to set yourself as a payee to be able to pay for their standard of living for them. Now, we do have to discuss this part, which I'm going to go over shortly because it's kind of self-explanatory. Yes, there are some legal guardians who don't do what they need to do. You have some legal guardians that are payees and they are taking their loved ones' monies. They're using it for their own personal use. They are just splurging it and just living this lifestyle while their loved one is suffering. And unfortunately, that is the case for some situations, guys. And I pray that eventually we start to have maybe a more strict process in legal guardianship so that that doesn't happen. I will say, as far as the process of it, how it works, this wasn't a part of the pros section, but I'm just going to add this in here before we go to the cons of guardianship. When you apply for guardianship, you typically will go through your probate court of the county that you reside. There is one fee. You typically just pay it the one time. The only additional fee would be your copy of the guardianship paperwork that you would get in the mail or via email, okay? In the process, you can do an emergency guardianship. Let's say your loved one is on the streets and you need, let's say right now it's 11:20 in this part of Michigan where I am. Let's say you need that guardianship now. Like, your loved one is on the streets. You okay, I called 988. They got the mental health crisis mobile out. I need to be able to advocate. This is where you go to your probate court and you get temporary guardianship, and you're going to do the emergency temporary guardianship. Okay. When you do this, it allows for you to be able to say, hey, my loved one that was on the streets, when a mental health crisis team came, when they took them to the hospital to get them inpatient psychiatric treatment, I can advocate for this person because now I have this temporary guardianship right here. I have it right here, and I am legally able to speak with any of you doctors, any of you nurses, social workers, case managers, whoever is going to be helping my loved one. So that is a short process of how it works, of how guardianship works. Once you get your paperwork in the mail via mail, it's going to have your beginning date and your expiration date. If you decide at any time that you no longer want to be a guardian, you can go on the website of your probate court within your county. You can complete a form. The form name and number is different per state. I do offer those services, so guardianchronicles.com if you do need assistance with that. But once you do complete the form, you mail it back. I want to terminate my guardianship because your loved one is back on track, and call it a day. All right. I know that was a lot, guys, so you may want to watch that on repeat. So I really, really hope that you guys hear what I'm saying and you're passing this information over, if it's not for you, to a friend, a family member, a neighbor, a stranger. Share it on your page, tag someone. I make these videos because I truly want to help someone. I had to deal with a lot of, I was about to say the S word ending in T. I've had to deal with a lot of stuff over the years when it came to caregiving, guardianship, going back and forth with doctors due to them wanting to discharge my mom and discharge my aunt, and they weren't ready, and all these different things. Their psychosis was still heightened. I'm like, they're still needing treatment. I was able to get them treatment by having guardianship. As a caregiver, it's beautiful. I salute every one of you caregivers. Just make sure that you get the legal right. Not every caregiver should be a legal guardian. Maybe your loved one doesn't need that. It's not for everyone. But under the circumstances that I just went over, yes, that may be a benefit for you. Some people have loved ones with bipolar or bipolar schizophrenia or any other mental health condition living with it, but they're on their own. Their severity is not as high as my mom and my aunt. And if that's you, then that's okay. This message is not for you, and God bless you as well as your loved one. But for those who this does meet the qualifications for, please hear me out, and please consider guardianship for your loved one, because it would be excellent for you as well as your loved one. It would benefit. Now let's go over cons, guys. We kind of went over a little bit, but let's go over it. Loss of independence. I know you guys are like, oh my God, let me just cut the live off now. What you mean loss of independence? So this is what I mean by that. When you're a caregiver or a legal guardian, either or, using it interchangeably, you are on 24/7. And I equate this to having a child or having children. Please don't take that as an insult, but it really is the truth. When you have a child or you have children, you are on. There is no turning mom off. And with being a caregiver, you're responsible for this person's life. So it's one and the same, which means that if they live on their own, or rather they live in assisted living or nursing home, there is someone that's going to call you and say, hey, your loved one isn't eating. I noticed they didn't have breakfast or lunch. Can you come by here and check on them? Or can you call them? Or, hey, it looks like they're having episodes. They've been hallucinating and talking to themselves all day. Can you come by here? So you're going to have someone. It's always going to be someone that's going to be calling you, as you are their point of contact for your loved one. Now, what I would recommend is that you have someone else to be able to assist you. Maybe have a legal co-guardian, someone that can help you handle the affairs of your loved one and to be an advocate for your loved one. Another thing that you can do, if you have maybe a family member that's not a legal guardian, but they also are a caregiver, sort of like my uncle and I'm a legal guardian. He caregives sometimes. What you can do, if you ever get overwhelmed or burned out, or you feel like I'm tired of just being this point of contact all the time, you can tell maybe the assisted living home, the nursing home, or wherever your loved one resides, hey, I have a family member that you can reach out to for the next 2 days or 3 days. I'm taking a mental health break. I do that all the time, guys. When I tell you all the time, because it's needed. It's needed. I will tell my mom's home, hey guys, I know my mom's appointments are coming up. I'm taking a mental health break, just taking some self-care. If there are any issues, concerns, or questions that you have, please contact my uncle at this number. Now, even though he's not a legal guardian, he still can handle the caregiving things, appointments. If she maybe wasn't eating or something, and they want to call him and say, well, your mom didn't eat, well, your sister didn't eat today. Did you want to call her and talk to her? Because those calls can be quite tedious. They can. Those calls can be the most tedious things when, here it is, guys, let's say you're out trying to have a self-care day. You're dealing with your own personal stressors, whether that's with your spouse. It could just be with self, trying to figure out life itself. It could be anything. And here it is, you get a phone call. Well, your loved one isn't eating today. They're refusing to take their meds. That's the big one. With bipolar schizophrenia, with that combination, that's the big one. They're refusing to take their meds, and you hear them screaming in the background. That can be such a heightened stress. it can be such a stressor, guys. So when you have these moments, that becomes some form of a loss of independence. It makes you feel like someone is constantly attached to me. But it doesn't have to feel like that if you prioritize and you organize your life in a way to where it's not so like challenging. And the way that you do that is you ask for help. And I get that you got some families that here it is, you're like, well, I'm the only person in the family that's going to do anything. Then you know what you do? Hey guys, tell the assisted living home, nursing home, or wherever your loved one is living, yes, I'm the legal guardian. However, if it's not a life or emergent situation, set your boundaries. I would appreciate it if you guys wouldn't call me between this time and that time. That way you don't have that loss of independence feeling. I would appreciate it if you leave me a voicemail. Send me a text. Okay, I'll get back to you at this time. If it's an emergent, like a psychosis situation, don't call me if she skipped a meal or two. I'll contact you, just send it in a text. I'll contact you by the end of the day. Set boundaries with the facilities that your loved one may be in so that they know how to address you, and so that you don't get so caught up in just loss of independence like that. But I did title it as loss of independence because at times it does feel that way. Another thing, some people feel like their loved one may lose the ability to make choices for themselves. That's not true. It is not. When my mom goes to the doctor, recently, you guys know she went through breast cancer. I could not force her to get a lumpectomy, to go in and have the surgery done. Legally, I have not spoken with the courts to see if that's something that I could enforce. From what I know, I don't think that I can enforce that. I know mentally, like her mental health, I can enforce maybe a psychiatric injection against her will if needed. But for medical, I am not sure if that is something that I can enforce. But if it was, I still wouldn't do it. That's her body, her rights. Okay. They don't lose their ability to be an advocate for themselves, your loved ones. They can still be their own advocates, but you as a legal guardian, you need to work with your loved one the best that you can. Don't become a legal guardian and just run their life. You don't want to do that. You want to become a legal guardian and you want to work with them. You want to help advocate for them. If they are totally in a space to where they cannot make any decisions for themselves because cognitively, medically, mentally, then that's a different story. Then of course you will have to make primarily all the decisions. But other than that, make sure you're working with your loved one. Never make any decisions against their autonomy, their bodies, when you know that they're in their right mind to be able to. They're stable on their medications and you know that they can make those decisions. Still give them the ability to be able to say, I don't want to do this. Recently my mom made the decision to have her lumpectomy and everything went well. She no longer has breast cancer. She's in remission right now. She's going to go through radiation. I keep her involved in her own care. The only time that I kind of really push my authority is when it comes to her mental health, because I know if she doesn't take her medication, she's going to end up having extreme episodes, which is going to cause her to be inpatient. And it's just not beneficial for her health. So keep in mind, they can have their own choices and advocate for themselves, even with you being a legal guardian. It's all upon you and how you decide to move in that area. We have 3 more cons and then we'll be done. Court involvement. We already went over that, so that'll be really quick. Ongoing paperwork. You have to keep your paperwork together when it comes to guardianship. Hey, Mikey. Hey, Melissa. Hey, y'all. You have to keep your paperwork together. With guardianship, they want to know annually, you'll do an annual review. They're going to want to know everything from every medical visit, every dental visit, every vision appointment, kidney doctor, if they have diabetes, all these different things. They're going to want a form that they'll send you, and they're going to need you to put they, meaning the probate court, they're going to want you to list all of these things. They're going to want you to list how often you see your loved one. You can make it general though. You can say, I see them 4 times a month for an hour a day or something like that. It can be quite tedious if you're not organized. That's why it is good to have organization in your life, or hire someone. Like in my last video, I had Sky White. She is a caregiver consultant. That's what she does. She helps you organize your paperwork, organize to have a caregiver come to the house and things like that. She helps you put things in order. So if you're not good with organizing, you can have someone help you do that, or you literally can open up an ink pad. That's what I do in my phone. I open up ink pad in my phone. I put my mom's psychiatric information in the year, and for every appointment, I just copy, paste, time, date, everything, what was done, and I just keep a whole ink pad full. When they give me paperwork, I put it in a binder. I just put it in a binder, put a tab on it, you know. Now, I do need to be a little bit more organized for 2026, and my 2025 paperwork may be a little bit out of control, but I know how to read it. But I do need to organize it a little bit more, but it could be a bit tedious. The other fee would be the guardianship fee for, it is the copy of the guardianship form. It's like $12, guys. It's not bad. It may vary from state to state, but typically it's under $20 is from what I've seen. I haven't seen it being over $20. If it has, you guys can correct me. I mean, I haven't looked at every state, but I have helped a lot of people with guardianship from California to Colorado, Michigan, Indiana, let's see, Atlanta, and it's one more. I can't remember the last one, but I've helped a lot of people within those arenas. So you only pay that fee annually so that you'll have a copy for your own records. So the last two is it's time consuming. We went over that, the documentation, the oversight, and the emotional strain. So it could impact your relationship with your loved one. If, like myself, my mom, I'm the daughter, sometimes I have to differentiate. She's mom, I'm daughter. So even though I advocate for her, I still have to respect her as mom. That can be quite confusing because sometimes my authority will be here and she's here. But then once she's back stable, mom is mom and I'm here. So having to differentiate the authority factors between the respect factors between your loved ones. If your sister and brother, you know, you still respect them the same, but sometimes your power in negating and advocating for them may be on a higher at one point until it goes back to normal. And sometimes that can impact your relationship. For myself, I'll say that with my mom, it's impacted us because I felt like I've had to be the mother, whereas it feels like I'm the mother and then she is the daughter sometimes, even though I know, of course, cognitively and I know mentally that that's not the case, but sometimes that's what it feels like. So when you're a legal guardian, sometimes the emotional strain of switching roles, if it's mom and dad, if it's your sister, if it's your brother, if it's your neighbor, you know, your neighbor, some people do become legal guardians of their neighbor, especially when they're close. They've taken care of them over the years. The doctors are familiar with them. By the way, just to FYI, yes, doctors are supposed to ensure that they have that legal guardian documentation, but there are some doctors that understand that a lot of people don't know about guardianship and how it works, and they still will talk to you and give you information and things like that. So once you are a legal guardian, it does, as a caregiver or a legal guardian, it's just emotional strain. So it's really good that you have self-care and you take care of yourself and you prioritize your life, whether that's with your spouse, your children, your hobbies, your career. Don't lose yourself, because it can happen. A lot of times you can get frustrated because it's always something. It feels like, and that's with being a caregiver, period. Nothing to do with being a legal guardian, just being a caregiver. Being a caregiver, it feels like it's always something, always something. Being a legal guardian makes it easier, because at least when it's always something and you're a legal guardian, you have the authority legally to be able to make changes and to do things smoothly. Whereas if you were a caregiver only, you're limited to your abilities. You're limited to the things that you can do. So if you do have a loved one, guys, in closing, that you know that they are not able to take care of themselves mentally or physically, and you know that they're in a position to where they're unable to advocate for themselves. You know that they need someone to help make their decisions, whether that's medically, financially, just overall. They may live on their own and they need that assistance, and you are already their caregiver, their closest person. You are their confidant. Guardianship may be for that person. If you would like to know more, if you would like to have a sit down and we can discuss it to see if it would be a good fit for you, you can go to my website at guardianchronicles.com. Click on guardianship and complete the form. I can go over it with you to determine if your circumstance may qualify for a guardianship. Not everyone needs guardianship. Not everyone that has bipolar, schizophrenia, or any other mental health or physical condition may need it. Some people just have a temporary moment. It happens. They move on. But to help prevent a lot of and I say this a lot when I say injustices, because I mean it, to help prevent a lot of the injustices that we see all over. And I'll just speak about the United States, because I'm not really familiar with international and how that is. But within the United States, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to schizophrenia, schizophrenic patients, and people living with this condition, bipolar, it seems that people are afraid. And instead of helping people, they're just afraid. They're afraid. And I think that a lot of people are afraid because the people living with the condition doesn't have anyone to advocate for them, to help get them the treatment that they need. So they're living this wild life on the streets or in abandoned buildings and homes, and squatting homes and things, so that they could find a way to live in this world that they didn't create. It's a world that they were either born with, something happened, PTSD, or whatever it was that caused for their schizophrenia or their bipolar, whatever, however they got it, they can't help living with that condition. So at least they can have someone to help advocate and help guide them and help put them on the right path to being stable, to being healthy, to being happy, to being in a situation to where they're able to live their life as happy and as fruitful as they can. I'm tired of seeing people homeless on the streets talking to themselves. And I really do believe that if more people had legal guardians, people that love them, good legal guardians that love them, that want to advocate for them, that want to ensure that they have a place to stay, food to eat, they're being taken care of medically, financially, they're on the road to being on the right track. Like, I really do believe that if we have more legal guardians and more advocates, it would help to prevent these injustices that we're having. I really do. And I want to be a part of the change, because it's just too much going on in the world, guys. And yeah, I could go on and on about it, but that's just where I am. So I hope that you guys got what I was saying with the pros and cons of guardianship. I'll do a quick reflection. The pros of guardianship: legal authority, protection, access, stability. The cons are loss of independence, court involvement, ongoing paperwork, things like that, guardianship fees, time consuming, and emotional strain. If you guys are interested in guardianship for your loved one, or you know a friend, a family member, a neighbor, or someone that you believe may benefit from guardianship, please, please, please go to my website at guardianchronicles.com. Send me a DM if needed. Comment below if needed. Share, tag whoever that you feel like would benefit from this information, okay? So, I am going to do something to celebrate the 50th show, because that is a big deal. But I do have some good news. I have some good news to report, but I'm going to wait. And I think actually this was my first time talking about my mom and how she no longer has cancer. So I'm going to do a separate post, because I know that this one lasted a while. So for those of you who watch, you guys know now that my mom is in remission. Yay! And later this evening, we're going to a concert. We're going to go see the Dramatics with my uncle and his partner. So it should be a nice time. So thank you, you guys. Thank you for joining Guardian Chronicles Let's Talk Live today. We will continue next week. As far as guest goes, I did put upcoming guests inside of my story, so you guys should be able to see it. I'm going to post the upcoming guest probably tomorrow or so with all their information, so that you can see who's going to be next on each show. I will be moving over to YouTube. I've been trying to do it for years now, but what I'm going to start doing is just solo shows on YouTube, getting the hang of it and things like that. And then I'll start adding people, because on Instagram, you guys can't just get out the show and then, you know, and just be on your phone and do all kinds of things. On Instagram, you guys are stuck with me right here. You can't roam all around. You can't, you know, shop on Shein and do all these different things while still listening to me. So I want you guys to have that flexibility. So I will let you know once I do post on YouTube. I'm just going to post like little stuff here and there just to get the feel of it. I do have some posts on there already, but I want to start using it more. Okay. So thank you, you guys, for joining, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.